Hi everyone, welcome to Everything Dog Training with me, John McGuigan, Glasgow Dog Trainer and Behaviour Consultant. So thanks for taking the time out your schedule or out your day to join us for the next hour and a bit. Really good conversation I had with Ariadna today, and this will be out a couple of days later. So we had a good chat, covered a lot of ground, so hopefully you'll enjoy it. Super grateful as always for you joining us. Any feedback, anything that you want to get us to cover in future episodes, how you want the podcast to go, what kind of stuff you want us to cover, then please do get in touch. One of the things I'd ask is, generally, it's just interesting, it's not a criticism, okay, not at all. When I ask what kind of content, and it's the type of content we want covered, what happens is people give me real specifics, which doesn't always help. I don't say it doesn't really help, but it doesn't always help. So I'd asked, would you be open to us doing a kind of magazine episode, maybe once a fortnight or something like that? Would that be something that you're interested in? So I'd look at articles online and anything that's current in the dog world, and see how that impacts our lives with our dogs and how we train them and change their behaviour to meet their goals, to meet their needs and to meet our goals and needs. So if you've got any feedback on that or anything to do with the podcast, then please contact me. The socials are at Glasgow Dog Trainer. That's on YouTube, Instagram and Facebook. And you can get me email at my email is info@glasgowdogtrainer.co.uk. So Ariadna Cosma, she is the founder of Turbo Dog Mobile Gym, the first mobile dog gym in Romania. She's a dog trainer and behaviour consultant based in Cluj, I hope I'm pronouncing that properly, in Transylvania, so in Dracula country. Apologies for Logan's singing in the background. He's been unwell the last few days, and he's got a wee bit of his pep back today. So, but I still need to rest him. I think he's had an injury. He's been sore a little bit, so he's a little bit bored. So I'm going to have to do some work with him. That's why he's yodeling in the background. So anyway, back to Ariadna. She started her dog training path when she adopted Manolo from our local pound. So he is a Pitbull American Staffordshire Terrier, or American Staffordshire mix, who came with she says in quotes, a colourful background and baggage. And she also says in quotes that he made her do this. Okay, so as with a lot of us, our journeys into dog training and to become professional dog trainers has happened because we've adopted or a really challenging dog has come into our life. So that's what's happened with Ariadna and Manolo. She did her qualifications with IMDT UK, and she's always studying and researching ways of how to become a better dog trainer. Most dogs that she sees really don't have behaviour problems as such, they just have needs that are not fulfilled, or the pain is the root cause. So that's what Ariadna's found a lot. So through an extensive research and experience with her dogs and others, she discovered the amazing benefits of dog treadmills, and it's a slat mill. We'll go into some detail about what it is and what it isn't. And she then decided to open a doggy gym, and she opted for a mobile gym so that she can take it around her local community and make it accessible to people. And that's how we got into the Turbo Dog Mobile Gym. Her goal is to promote this combination of safe and proper exercise combined with a kind approach, as she sees it as a way of educating people about the future of canine medicine, training and well-being. So again, super interesting conversation I had with Ariadna. Hope you enjoy it. And yeah, well, let's get into it.
Good morning, John, and thank you for having me. First of all, it's a pleasure. So yes, we have the Turbo Dog Mobile Gym. It's the first one in Romania, and it's with special treadmills that are made for dogs. We call them actually slat mills because they are non-motorized. They have a special protection system for their joints, so it's very safe to use regardless of the age of the dog. Or they are also indicated to use in case of recovery after an injury or after a surgery, or to build more muscle, to lose weight, to sleep better, to reduce anxiety. You call it. They are very, very good. Based on all the experience that I've gathered and what big changes I've seen in dogs, I can guarantee and stand by them. So the thing is that we started this based on our Manolo, the dog that I've got. You know his story. He's a bit of a special needs boy. And thanks to you, I managed to reach really, really far with all his training and getting to know him better. And nobody else managed to do that. So big thanks for that. But it still wasn't enough for him. So last winter, basically, he hates cold. Doesn't even want to go out when it's cold and snowy. So lack of exercise created loads of frustration for him. That's when I decided to get this treadmill, start in the garage and get him going, at least to reduce the anger that he ended up having. And it was almost instant visible result. So like it was hard to get him to actually like it because of all his anxieties. He's still the hardest case that I had to convince to like the treadmill. But once he did it, it's like everything changed in him. Like now he reaches speed of 30 kilometers per hour.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which is pretty amazing. And he loves to do it for the sake of doing it. And as soon as he finishes, he's calm, he sleeps, he develops muscles, he looks better, he's less frustrated, and we can even have guests over without him going nuts. Yeah. So it's very, very interesting to see the change and the progress with that.
So we're going to break down a few things there, from, because it's wonderful that you found something which has provided them with that. The first thing I wanted to ask you about, you'd mentioned that it's not motorized.
No.
Right.
No.
So the track itself is it looks like a normal human treadmill, pretty much, doesn't it?
Exactly. Yes. It's got some slats all around that are connected to a belt.
Yeah. So it's free. You maybe see something similar at like a child's play park?
I'm not sure if you have in the human gyms. You have the electronic motorized treadmills for humans, and then you have those curved ones, also with some sort of a slats, or it depends the branding. So you have to run and push it with your force.
Yeah. Okay. So it effectively means he can stop at any time, can't he?
Exactly. That's the point. He can stop at any time. He chooses the speed that he wants to run as well. Yeah. But in case of anything, we do have brakes that are operated by hand. So especially at the beginning, when the dog is learning how to walk properly, because they need to be on the middle as well. Yeah. And until they get used to it, I always have my hand on the brake in order for them to just learn and get comfortable. So that's the safety anyway. Plus, they are harnessed, and there is another safety belt from the front part, so they cannot fall on each side. Because you better safe than sorry. So that's the system.
It's mild restraint to hold them in the safe place, with the links on either side, so that basically holds the dog in the center of the
treadmill. Yes.
And then they move under their own speed. So how do you get them moving? How do you get them moving and walking? What do we?
Okay, so at the beginning, you need to get them to get up on it, because again, it's their choice. We use no intimidation, no fear, as you well know. So it needs to be their choice. Of course, you encourage them at the beginning because it's something totally new. It's a very tight space, so they need to be a bit comfortable.
Yeah.
And once they're up, you secure the harness and everything. Then you go in front of the treadmill, hold the brake, and slowly you can start to move the slats underneath the dog, so he can feel, oh, okay, I need to make a step forward. I need to go tiny bit, because it's against their whole nature to walk on something like that.
Yeah.
And of course, you need to gain that trust and to see if they are overwhelmed, to stop, not to push them, not to do anything that it might cause too much stress for them. That's the trick that many I've seen that have these dog treadmills or dog mobile gyms. And unfortunately, I've seen the methods that they use. It's the same like dog training. Yeah. You pick which side you are, but it can be done with kindness.
And you were saying there, so it's just
with lots of the stuff that we've talked about, I'm always looking at ways that we can apply the knowledge and information that we get from one arena into something else. So
Yes.
if you'd said there about you're looking for signs that the dog has either had enough, needs a break, isn't enjoying it. So those learning those, because you're a dog trainer and you study dog training, you've already learned that. So if somebody was doing something with their dog, anything at all, whether it's a new activity or taking a dog to the park or down the street and the dog sees something that's disturbing them a little bit, what are you looking for? So those signals that you're looking for, people can read those signals in other ways. So where are other areas? What are you seeing there? What kind of thing?
Okay, so first of all, what I've noticed, this is as a extra bit, because I've been to this sports festival and we had loads of dogs, loads of people literally coming, testing, going, coming, testing, going. And the main thing that I've seen is the openness that dogs had towards this new experience. For dogs that were wearing harnesses, dogs that didn't have mother or father that were frustrated with them in any way or treating them differently, and I've seen the other dogs that were more chill, more eager to try this new experience, and they actually ran their first session, but they were used to wearing a harness. Their parents were really encouraging, really believing in them. They were so much more motivated, and from that first second I could tell that the dog was not very comfortable with mom or dad, but he was comfortable with me, for example. And it's a fraction of a second that you can tell. So the stress signals, of course, it's the same as in dog training or as if they walk on the street. It's literally the same things that they show. Or, for example, if they're extremely panicked to even go towards this treadmill, then you need to start from and split it into much smaller bits for the dog to be able to manage.
And the panic you'd see there would be reluctance to approach the equipment, the tail tucked, pulling away. That's the signs.
Or the escape behavior that once they are up there, they are trying to jump and they really don't want. But again, that I've seen a big difference if the owner was, or the mother or the guardian, however you want to call it, if they were close by and the dog wasn't very comfortable with them, then he would show a bit different behavior. Once the guardian was further away and wasn't getting involved, then the dog was calmer. So because parents were, they were frustrated many times. It's same as if you walk your dog and you get frustrated, then he feels that based on the leash, based on your cortisol smell, whatever. So and he reacts in that way.
We're going to talk. We're going to talk a little bit. I mean, we're moving into it anyway, but I think there's some more stuff to talk about with the treadmill. So when you're saying there that they've got, the owner wants to see the dog moving on the treadmill, they think that that's the purpose of this, whereas the purpose of this is the dog moving on the treadmill and in a relaxed and happy manner.
To enjoy it, and not to just move.
Yeah, the enjoyment's the purpose of doing it rather than right. Now the pressure that the human then shows towards the dog then changes the dog's experience of being
Exactly. Or another thing that I've seen, the human did not believe in the dog because he saw a tiny bit of, basically it depends with each dog how easy they start the movement. Some need a bit more work, some need a bit more patience, some need a toy or food. It depends, the motivation is different. But many didn't believe in the dog, or they were like, good luck getting him to do that, he's too lazy or something like that. And they were shocked when they did see it happen. And they were a bit frustrated, like, I wasn't right. That's another human part, like, who are you to do that? Who are you to tell me? Why did you manage to do it? I know my dog.
Where do you think that comes from? Where do you think that comes from in the person?
In a person, from his personal experiences in general that affect the way he sees things. Let's say we call it trigger stacking. They've had many issues at home, bad relationship, some pain in the knee, I don't know, they keep adding up. Then maybe what side they've seen of their dog, they think that's the only side. So they cannot really see more of their dog. Just because you provide a dog with less doesn't mean that he cannot do more.
Yeah.
That's the main thing that people are lacking a bit. Have more faith in your dog.
Yeah.
Even if sometimes you struggle, like it happens, but just believe in him, you know?
I think as well, believing in yourself. You're just opening
Yeah,
up to those new experiences as well, you know.
of course.
I think I see it a little bit when, especially when I'm coaching, if I'm coaching couples, right, or I'm coaching two members of the same family, and what I tell them, and I'm not shy about it. I tell them what will happen is I'll be coaching one half of the couple, and the other half can see them doing it, and I'm putting this in quotes, wrong. Okay, so they start contributing, right? And I tell them, you need to be, there's only one teacher here, and the teacher's me, right? You know,
I know.
They're seeing that it's not right, so they then go, I need to fix that. I need to make sure that that's okay, you know, and
it's a control thing.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. And I think in there about the dog, they want to somehow some reflection on them that their dog can or can't do this.
Yes.
On the treadmill,
yes.
You know.
Of course. And I've seen so many surprised faces. Some in the good way, some surprised in the way that, damn it, like they don't know what to do or how to react. And it's fascinating to see. And funny enough, right? Like all these terrifying dogs, big, aggressive dogs, whatever you want to call them or whatever they're labeled, none of them loves to run more than bullies.
Yeah, okay.
No, like none of them. They actually enjoy doing that so much. Malis as well. And these are the hardest dogs to work with that people say, they're a blessing.
Yeah.
No problem. And all the other ones, also like with the small dogs. Again, another thing with humans, how they're like, no, they don't need to work out. Why do they need exercise? They can run in the back garden or something like that. Just because he's a small dog. It's the same with training. Small dogs don't need to be trained. And actually, they smashed it as well, and they continue to do so.
You think it's that they've just got it's given them a job and an actual focus to do, you know, so
exactly.
It's there's for the dog there is, I don't even know if it's an outcome or, you know, so you know the difference for us if we go for a walk around, so you could walk in your city centre for 2 hours.
Of course.
And I don't mean aimlessly, but you could walk around and go shopping and stop for a coffee and stuff like that. You get your steps in and you've burned those same that you know, so say it's 800 calories you've burnt or something like this. You could then go out for a run or go to the gym and do the same amount of calories, and you'll feel better after that.
That's exactly the point, because it's also for your mind. It's not just for your body, and it's the same effect in dogs, because it stimulates their brain in a different way, and it gives them so much more confidence, especially with anxious dogs. It's a huge difference. You can compare it with the gym that provides you the good feeling, not just the movement that you need. And of course, you need to walk the dog or to take them in nature or to do other things with them. It's never gonna be a replacement, but as an addition, it makes a hell of a difference.
How often do you do it with you? So Manolo is your dog. How often do you do this with him? And for how long?
At least twice a week.
Okay.
But it can happen that he just wants to do a few sprints of 5 minutes.
Okay.
Because he's not in the mood. He loves the sprinting. He doesn't go the slow, like, I'm doing my cardio. No, all or nothing. So even this morning, he just felt like doing a couple of sprints and then sleeping.
Okay.
But normally it's about 30 minutes per session.
Yeah.
And you can do intervals. Some dogs run with 5 kilometers per hour, the speed on a constant base. Others, they do up and down. So it depends on the day and the mood.
Does the dog choose there? So when you're saying that the dog's on there, you're saying that the dog changes pace. Is that within 1, 5 or 10 minute period? The dog will run faster and slower?
Yes, yes. And also it's kind of like the coach's job to feel when is the right moment. Okay, now push it, now push it. Okay. Also, what's the motivator that you use? If it's a toy, or if, like last evening I had a session and we were pretending that we saw a cat, and the parents were like, that was motivating the dog to run. So it's always about coming up with new things.
Yeah.
But it's very fun.
You use his tug toy, and what does he get at the end? So what happens, I think, with this, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, that yes, the running itself is enjoying. He enjoys yes, it in and of itself. But when you're saying there, the motivation of the toy in front of him, so we're not baiting him with the toy, we're just holding it to say, and then when does he get the toy, and what do you do with the toy?
Okay, so especially I will mention the bully breeds and the Malinois because they're more toy oriented. For example, you hold the toy and you make it alive.
Yeah,
that's what counts as well. And you keep it for a few seconds, not too much. Then he actually gets the toy. Some of them like to run with the toy in their mouth, but they continue running. So they don't just run for the toy and they don't see the toy as a bait.
Yeah.
How some would call it. It's the same as if you would play tug with your dog, just that he is moving in that time. So then if you remove the toy, and he still runs, sometimes, like I have dogs that run around just to kiss me.
Yeah.
Like, again, bully breeds, it depends. But it's not always like forcing them, continue running, continue running. No, the high speed as well is kept for only a few seconds at a time.
Okay.
That's it. Yes, yes.
Is there I think we see it very often with, I'm going to be careful with this so I don't upset anybody. Right, okay. So when we get into, when you get really into clicker training, right?
Yeah.
And I've seen this a lot with positive trainers. I've seen it with positive trainers. I don't watch. So even though we're training positively, we want to try and do more and more and more with the dog. So we end up trying to train more extreme behaviors because the dog can't do it, but two, because it's so reinforcing for us because we're like that. How cool is this, right?
Yes.
I used to see. So one of the things I really don't particularly like is teaching dogs how to do handstands by walking up the wall, right? So I don't think that's a natural movement for a dog.
Yeah.
I think what happens is where it starts is we teach the dog to target their back feet by going on to a small step. Okay, so the dog steps back onto, and it's millimeters, right?
Yeah.
And then we start building that up higher and higher and higher until the dog is doing this handstand. Right now, at some stage, there's a line there where we say this is for the dog's benefit, and now this is just because it's a circus and we're training these.
Exactly, because I'm also trying to show off to myself, this is what I can do or what I can get my dog to do.
So where's with the treadmill, there's a danger of that, isn't there?
Basically, it depends how in whose hands it is. Sure. As well. Like with everything. I not see this like, I don't even know how to put it in words. Basically, you see the dog that he's running really fast and let me push him another kilometer or another 2 or something like that, just because I want him to run that speed, even though he's dying there, he has a spatula tongue, he's dripping, and that's for me. But as soon as I see any kind of sign of fatigue or, I'm too hot, or I'm even encouraging them, go slower.
Yeah. Okay.
Take a break. Don't do it. Or you're not in the mood. Not in the mood. We go out. It's fine. Yeah. Even with people, for example, I have clients that they are trying to push their dog just because I say we can do the rest of the minutes that are left in the next session. The dog is done.
Yeah.
Don't, because my main focus is the dog's well-being.
Sure.
In the end, I only care about the dog. And I know it's not the dog that's paying me, but he's my main focus. Yeah. So, and that's the thing. And I never ever want to hurt dogs because it's against my whole nature.
Yeah.
So, and even with my boy, when I've seen his increase in speed, I do it a few seconds. Okay, you reach that speed, fine. I just want to know that you are still fit. Or okay, maybe once for fun you do one sprint and then that's it, you stop. Because
on you go.
No, that's it, because it's not for me.
Yeah.
Of course I'm enjoying it and I'm having loads of fun, and it's fun for people to see your dog doing that.
Of course.
Very entertaining. But that's why it's not to be left in the hands of non-professionals.
Yeah.
The main thing.
It's similar with, there are a couple of examples. It's like when we go into the gym or you go out for a run on your own, that's all about you.
Exactly.
So there's the physical aspect for us of doing physical work, right? So you go out and you train, right? Now there's then the mental aspect of, so you see it a lot with weight, because you lift weights, eh? You lift weights.
Yeah.
Right. So most people can lift weights considerably harder and for longer than their mind starts telling them. Okay.
Of course.
It starts becoming a little bit heavy and they're not used to it. So they then go, that's my limit. But your limit's you're probably about 70% of your limit.
Yeah.
And then feeling your mind to then say, I'm going to do another set, or I'm going to make it this one harder, or I'll reduce my rest periods. And that's about your mental stuff. So that's about your resilience and your grit. I think what can happen, depending on our mindset with this, when we do this with our dogs, is we start taking that into our dogs, because we can say, no, you can push further here, you know, but that's not what it's about.
No, of course you want them to progress, because if they don't try a tiny bit harder, maybe a movement or something, or to teach a new behavior, any new behavior, it's hard at the beginning and it can be frustrating. I don't want to do this. What's the point? And then once they've done it, they're like blown away. Oh my God, did you see? Did you see what I did? So they feel good about that. But that's the whole purpose of, hey, trust me, I will not push you more than you can do. So even if there is a dog that doesn't really want to be there, even if mom or dad says, no, put him, I said, no, he's off. And then you give them the freedom of choice. Hey, get off the treadmill, come back on. Get off, come back on. Oh, you see, nobody's forcing you. Even with just securing the harness on and off many, many times until they don't feel pressured to do it. And that's when you see them brighten up. It's the same as with any behavior that you're trying to teach them. Do split it into tiny, tiny bits to the point that it's enjoyable for them and they feel they can opt out. So
the dog's in control of, I can do this or not. I can run as fast or as long as I want or not.
Exactly. And that is the main secret in all of this. Because you can do a tiny slip of a mistake and you lost the dog. It's done. Like, that's it. That is so tricky. That is, plus, not just that, you can be bitten in the face as well. It really is, because you're there, close up. So it's a lot of risks. That's why it's very, very caution terrain. Sorry.
So what benefits have you seen? So when you're saying that, I can't remember, because we had a brief conversation before we started recording. You were saying that you've seen, especially with Manolo, you've seen big changes in what he's like afterwards. So, and overall in his life. So what are you seeing the benefits? What does he get?
So, basically he had an anxiety issue with any new person, everyone humping and also destroying things and not being able to settle at all, especially in new places. So even when we had guests, he was wanting to play and interacting with them, but in a less, not aggressive manner, but less bully manner. And then, for example, I even took him for a run when the guests were present, and instantly he just like removed all the stress that he had. He geared it towards that.
Yeah.
And then he was able to interact normally. Plus, he gained more confidence in general when we are exploring new areas, like in the forest. He's going up on super steep hills and not crying like a baby. Mom, I cannot come back down. Now he's doing it very nicely. And you know how many people say about the, oh, harnesses cause pulling, blah, blah, blah. Again, here they are on a harness and they are taught and encouraged to pull as much as they want. So if they do that there, they can learn, same with Manolo, here I pull, on a normal walk I pull less because I'm more satisfied as well. He's less frustrated.
So do you think that it's not just because he's tired though, is it?
No.
Not able to settle with your guest just because he's got less energy. He's doing it because he just feels better.
Exactly. The thing is that when he had those episodes, he never gets tired. Never got tired. It was the arousal so high to the point that he couldn't breathe anymore, and he was continuing to be a menace, basically, because that's how he's built. But now, especially on his birthday, we had loads of people with toys and gifts and stuff. They were fighting, like, come on, play with me, come on. And he was like, no, I'm done. Please leave me alone. I need my space. And so to reach to that point, it's wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like big change. Even to go to the mountain, to a whole new area, to see people working there and with machinery and not to have a panic attack. To be there for 2 hours after a 3-hour trip.
Yeah, he's doing
so good. Big changes. Yes.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm very, very happy for that.
I think as well, it's like with my friends, so my personal trainer that I do, and he does lots of work on rehab, and he does he works with kids and gets them moving and stuff like that, you know. And he says that what he's when he's working with, he did a couple of sessions with kids of primary school age, and he just got them working through some really basic movements, right? So like ducking under a bar, right? So moving under the bar or crawling underneath it. And then they became more fluent in that behavior with practice. Okay, so they started working, this is how my body moves, this is where I have to put my weight. And he said what he then started seeing, like when he gave them free play, he gave them the free play sessions, and they started moving better. But it's because they'd learned or they'd discovered the confidence, I can move like this and nothing really bad will happen. So that's maybe what you're seeing when he runs up the steep hill and then go, no, I know how to use my body to get down here, because he's using his body on the
yes, because he's got, and he has different muscles that he didn't know he had them before, because his muscles were all atrophied when I got him. He was extremely underweight as well, and he didn't know how to jump at all. He was falling like a log all the time. And now it changed completely. His back legs have the strength, because again, on these treadmills, you develop more the back legs that on a normal walk, they're not really that used. So not just that, but we've been working on all these exercises, again, as you said, for kids, tucking under stuff, balancing on uneven surfaces, stretching, basically all these modern things that you apply for humans, and how much they are more present everywhere. Because you didn't know about this many years ago. Nobody was paying attention. No, like what is stretching? And now you stretch your dogs? Like, I am not. But you can see differences, and you can see how much it helps them from a physical point of view and a mental one. Because if they're in pain, or if they're sore, or if they don't know what to do in certain situations, how to climb on something, then they're stressed. If they're stressed, you are frustrated. Never-ending circle.
So brings us nicely on to talking about frustration. You're saying, what do you see when you're, because it was one of the things that you wanted to talk about, both in people and in dogs. We've talked briefly about it, the people's frustration with their own dogs. So what is, expand on that, talk more about that.
So I can start even with my own experience. When I don't have the knowledge on why my dog is reacting in a certain way, or what is he missing, what am I missing, then I get frustrated. And you are tending to lash onto him, like, why are you barking? I have a headache, I don't want you to bark. And he's barking more, because you don't understand. It's lack of communication. And again, that it might be the ego part as well, because hey, no, I'm the human, you're the dog.
Yeah, you need to.
I know I will always know more, or something like that. So this frustration creates a bad kind of energy vibe between you and your dog, or between you and your other family members, or between anyone. So once you're willing to let go and peel off the layers of what's bothering you, first of all, then you can actually pay attention to your dog's needs and understand. But fun enough, once you take care of yourself and you are less frustrated and you are healthier and eating properly and sleeping well, then your dog will not feed onto that, but it reflects a lot.
Yeah, because the environment.
So, yes, exactly. Exactly. And I've seen many people asking me advice about, oh, why is my dog doing this? Or how can I sort it out, but with as little effort as possible?
Yeah.
Let's start with you. I see how you are in the presence of the dogs. So as soon as you enter the home, the cortisol level is through the roof for them and for you.
Yeah.
So what do you expect? Is no training in the world that will help with that.
Yeah. So cortisol is a stress hormone, and it's what we release when we're feeling stressed.
Yeah, and they feel it.
Yeah, and because it emits because we smell different when we,
Exactly, yes. And of course, they can smell you from miles away. So the first thing they smell when you come back home is bad vibes, basically.
And I'll just explain briefly. So frustration's born of extinction. Extinction is a behavioral term when you're trying a behavior and it's not working. So we behave in order to get a result, and you're doing stuff and not getting that result that you're looking for. So the easiest way to explain it is if you press the button for the elevator or for the lift and it doesn't come, and you start stabbing the button.
Yeah.
So you're doing the behavior more and more and more, and you're getting, so that's called an extinction burst, where this should work. And
yes,
we're moving the mouse, when the battery of your mouse on your computer isn't working, and you start dragging it and screen.
Yes.
Trying to wave it across the screen, but it's not working, and then you maybe slam the mouse onto the mouse mat or onto the desk. So
yeah, it's a lot of options of this type that.
So that's and what you're saying there is that when the dog's barking a lot, and they're trying this, they're only trying what they know because they don't know what else to do. Yeah. But that's not working. So the solution is then more knowledge.
More knowledge and more patience in general, because even if you have the knowledge, right, but you don't have the patience to apply it correctly, then it will not work. It will not have the desired results. And then you end up going to a different kind of a trainer that promises 3 days, 2 hours, boom, your dog is fixed. Yeah. That's it. So this is the frustrating part for me, because people expect the dogs to also be perfect, to be more than a human being. That's another thing that we need to work on in general. It's not fair.
Yeah.
It's not fair on the dog. Like, you don't expect this much from a child that's 3-4 years old, but you do from a dog that's a different species, and you don't even speak the same language.
So, and I always ask there, so you've been on the planet decades, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
A lot.
Right, not that much, right? But are you the finished article? Do you never make a mistake as a human? Always learning.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, and you keep changing.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not fair. Even when the weather changes, I change my mood. So if that affects me, I'm thinking, can it affect my dog? And it does.
Yeah.
So don't expect also from someone when he's in a bad mood, he spilled coffee on himself, had a car crash, was late to work, I don't know, all of the above. Yeah. And then you expect that person to just be super nice and cute to you. He will lash on to you. But why? It's because of the experience and of the environment that he was in that specific moment. But that doesn't mean he's a bad person.
No, just means
same with dogs.
Yeah, yeah.
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 But again, this all creates a frustration in general.
Yeah.
To everyone.
So how do we what do we do about that when we're feeling frustrated?
Me personally, or how we should all humans
I'm always careful about using the word should anyway, as you know.
Should.
Right. So because by whose metric should we be doing anything? Okay. So what could we or can we do in order to, when we're feeling frustrated? So what do you do? And then what do you recommend that your clients do?
Okay, I learned from you. This really helps. Take a step back, breathe. Even to dogs, okay, breathe. Look at me. It's okay. Breathe, breathe. You're not on this specific tone, but yeah, the main thing is breathe and slow down. That's it. You don't need to finalize that trip that you were going on to, or reach to the point where you wanted in that specific moment. Just take a step back. We have a saying in Romanian, basically, don't argue with anyone that's drunk.
Yeah.
Because there's no point, right? So if you're in a situation where it's too much to manage, let go a bit, and then you come back to it. It's the same with dogs. Even if they react, they have a bad day, they react. It's fine. Nobody got hurt. Only your ego. Move on. Breathe and learn and behave in a different way next time, because you will gain more confidence in yourself. You will know how to manage the situation. Maybe look back and assess it.
So Eva and Emily are true excellent trainers in Sweden. And I remember seeing a presentation that they did, and they said that when it's not going the way that we want, or a mistake happens, what people actually want, well, yeah, I think maybe they want to rewind it and have a do-over.
Right? What if I could?
Yeah, so now what they said was you can either do something or do nothing. So those are our only two options when it's not going well. I lost you there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we do something or we do nothing.
Yeah. Now
what happens is people want to rewind it and do it again. You know, so they want to go.
That's impossible.
Yeah, it is, because it's past, right? Now, I say this to people when if I'm coaching them, and I do it in my jiu-jitsu class as well, I'll see the person working through something, and I'll say, you've tried that twice and it's not worked. Right? So try something else.
Right? Or don't try at all.
Yeah, just wait.
Just take a break.
Yeah, right. Now, so we've got there when you were saying there about slowing down and breathing. That's the change that we're making. So our behavior changes in relation to a changing environment, and then we get feedback as to whether to do that behavior again or do it more. Do it again or do it less, change what we're doing. So when it's not going well, and you're saying there is take that breath, that's the change that you're making. You're just pausing for a second, taking a breath, and then going, what do I do now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that definitely helped me be more confident in myself. At the beginning, it was very scary to deal with my boy's reactions. Extremely scary. He's very strong, and he was doing flick flacks in the air, and it's very hard to control that. But now he doesn't do that. Even if he has a reaction, it's a bark or a mini scream or something. And he's, funny enough, he's much stronger physically, and he could pull me on the street with no problem. And it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But also I'm less anxious about what might happen.
Yeah.
So that translates into his behavior a lot. And again, I know people say, oh, you're not really responsible for a dog's anxiety. No, you're not responsible, but you can contribute to it by how you move and how you interact with him, how you hold the leash, how you breathe, how you throw the treat, where you throw the treat. It's a lot of mini signs that they are able to see. And as I told you, it's so easy to notice the dogs that have been trained with forceful methods.
Yeah.
And the ones that haven't, that are much more open. Yeah. And if you can see so easily in such a short period of time, I mean, why even mention that? Like, it's a big difference.
And it's interesting there when you said about, so this is, and it's a gross oversimplification of anxiety. And I certainly don't want to be, it must be horrible to suffer from anxiety. both as a dog and a person. But if we look at anxiety is worried, we're worried about what's going to happen next.
Yeah, a fear of a fear.
Yeah, yeah. But it's a future event which has not yet happened, you know.
Yeah.
So when you look at there, when you in the early days with him and you were worried that he was going to pull you off your feet, for example, you know, you're worried about, and that's maybe based on the fact that he's pulled you before, and he's maybe not pulled you off your feet before, but he's maybe pulled you forcefully.
It was close. Many times.
So you're then worried that you're anxious or worried that that's going to happen again, but it's not happened yet in this moment.
Yeah.
But we can actually make it happen because we start getting stressed about the fact that it might happen next.
Exactly. And again, it happened that we were attacked when we were on fields or in forests by other dogs.
Yeah.
So that again is a stressor for me, first of all. And it took me a long time to be able to take him by myself in the forest again.
Yeah.
Because of all these things. You never know. Plus all the wild animals that we have in Romania, that's another anxiety of mine, regardless of him. But once I did that step of taking him back in the forest by myself, big difference.
Yeah.
Like he felt it as well, and he's much more calm. Because, oh, I'm with mommy, I know, okay. And he's even like, he saw a deer. He was going nuts after deers before, because even the smell was too much for him. And now he screamed a couple of times, and then we managed to continue our walk and not stop there for 45 minutes screaming. So it's a big progress.
So those feelings that he's having are normal. So the same as if you see something that, if I was frightened of spiders, it's normal for me to be going, oh, there's a spider, and then recover from that and get on with my day, which is what you said there. You know, when he has kind of little mini scream, so he's still feeling something, but he's able to. The intensity is much lower.
Yes,
and he goes, it's not the end of the world, and it doesn't have to mean everything.
Mm-hmm. And it's also because I'm not so scared when I see him screaming about something. Okay, I'm not taking him, let's run the hell out of here because I don't know what is there. So of course that helps him manage his feelings better.
Okay, cool. Okay, so got another couple of things. I'm just conscious of the time. So how long do you think we've been talking? I mean, as we did this a few weeks ago, and we've been talking nearly an hour now, and it's race past. You know, so you're talking about or you wanted to talk a little bit about the process of learning about dog training.
Yeah.
So what was your journey with that?
A lot of ups and downs. It happened by chance that I discovered this part of my. Also, basically, I adopted a boy. Nobody could manage him. Too hard for every trainer here. I did not want to use force because that's not my ethical part. And then I started studying, and still, even if you read all the books and you are taught in a certain way, sometimes it's not really easy to apply what you see in the books to apply to your own situation. So it's very confusing for people what to learn. If I experience that, I'm imagining a normal person without any background in dog training to try and apply an information that he just reads online to his situation, because there's many nuances about this. That's why it's important to go to someone specialized that can guide you to how to apply the information. I suppose you are seeing a lot of these cases as well, like, hey, I did do clicker training, but my dog doesn't do that, or what? I don't know how to apply it, or positive reinforcement doesn't work.
Sure.
that kind of a thing. But for me, your help was a huge breakthrough because of the way you explain things. I managed to understand what is needed from me. So if I had a different teacher, that would be more harsh. Even if you teach me the same method, the same information, but he wouldn't teach it in a way that I can relate to with examples, for example, then it wouldn't stick. the information wouldn't stick to me in any way. And I remember you were saying a lot how, as a teacher, you need to always find a way that your student can learn, so you can deliver the information to the student in a way that's digestible for him.
Yeah.
Regardless if it's human or dog, the student is the same the teaching process.
Yeah. I remember that's kind of, I didn't set that up for you to, so thank you. That's kind. My degree, I did my degree in immunology and microbiology, and I think I've maybe told this story before on one of my podcasts, but I use it as an example a lot. I briefly did some biochemistry classes at university, and I hated biochemistry. I did not like it, right? And do you remember the show ER that George Clooney started in?
Yeah, I didn't really watch
you're
it.
too
Not
young,
my...
so right. So
Oh.
the time that it was on, right? So it was James Wood, the actor, played he had a recurring character who had either motor neuron disease or muscular dystrophy. He had a degenerative disease anyway, and he had been one of the doctor's biochemistry professors at university. And they showed, and it was a really brilliant piece of acting, because he had learned this biochemical process of ATP. It's the cellular engine for producing energy.
Okay.
He had learned this 5-minute scene, and everything about it was accurate, right? Every single thing was, I mean, he'd learned it perfectly. But the way he presented it with energy, and it was interesting. And he was like, at one point he was standing up on the desk, and and I remember watching this. One, I had knowledge of the subject matter anyway, but I remember watching it thinking, if he had been my biochemistry professor, I'd have done a PhD in biochemistry.
Yeah.
So
missed that chance.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, it's a fiction, but there are teachers like that. There,
exactly.
It's just so where would you, if somebody's interested in dog training, and what would your advice be to them trying to sift through all of the... So, as like I said at the start of this podcast, I always thank people for spending their time listening to me, right? Because there's so much available. There's tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of YouTube videos on dog training, and not all of them are good,
No, and it's about how you make people feel when they listen to you. They feel understood. Like, at least I can speak for myself. I felt understood. I wasn't feeling ashamed in any way to describe what I'm going through, because I was to the point of collapse. And I was like, what does I have to lose? And also to give them confidence in themselves. So if I look for a mentor, I want him to believe in me and to raise me up instead of putting me down, because that's how I will do with dogs as well. It's a circle. So if the person that you're trying to get the information from doesn't believe in you, then you are also stuck there.
Yeah.
Again, don't compare yourselves with others. You need to find your own style of learning as well. Because maybe someone will understand better from a different type of trainer. It's all a matter of preference as well, but you need to always double check the information, because, okay, you might tell me something scientific about, and then I find a totally opposite information. But again, where does that come from? Even if it's from another trainer that has a reputation or whatever, you need to see, when did he say that, under what circumstances, how did things change? Because, as you've seen, many books have good information and have not so good information, or they're maybe not so actual.
And a lot of it,
swift through.
A lot of it, there's several, and I'll not mention them, but there's books that I read. So I read them 15 years ago, and they were already 10 or 15 years old at that point. Now, those trainers are people that have continued to, trainers and academics are people I've continued to learn from. Now, unless that book has been revised, the information was good at the time, but I read those books and go like this, that's so dated. I would not do that, nor would I recommend that to anybody. But if people are reading it, and so it's worthwhile looking at. There's very, very little that I don't think of when I go back through my YouTube channel, I don't think there's anything which I have deleted. I think maybe one bit. And when people come up and comment, and it happens occasionally, not very often, but sometimes it will happen, somebody will comment on something, and I say to them, what was the date of that?
Yeah.
You know, it was 10 years ago.
You can change your opinion in time. You can admit you were wrong. In your belief. That's another thing that you need to look for in any trainer or any mentor. We are humans, and also the knowledge that is out there now compared to what it was 20 years ago is totally different.
Absolutely.
So I've done the mistake of listening to a professional that was telling me, hey, you need to electrocute your dog in order for the dog not to eat off the floor. But what did I know? I was 11 years old. And in Romania, and we're 30 years behind anyway. So
well, your development was stunted for 40 years, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Partly because you were, because you were under dictatorship, so you can give yourself a break, so okay, right. So we're talking. Lastly, you were saying about bring us on nicely there to kind of human healing, in our own journey with our dogs. So what was what were you wanting? You were talking a little bit about that.
I learned that from you. Accept your dog, first of all. And I even make jokes about my dog that he's a special needs, because he is. And I love him more than anything in the world. And I tell him every single day that I love because of the way he is. And also maybe because he is the way he is, I am who I am now. Otherwise, it would have been boring journey. Like, why would I be a dog trainer? There's no point. And it's funny because I hear people say, oh my God, it's a really difficult case, difficult dog. No, I started with the most difficult one. So nothing else scares me, which is a healing in itself. Like, you gain so much more confidence. It's crazy. And all you can do with kindness. And once you give yourself credit for that, and be kind to you, like, yes, I'm going through hard times. It happens. Even if you were screaming at your dog, I made that mistake. Not his fault. It's mine. But I apologize for that, and I forgave myself for it. And once you accept that, and your dog for who he is, like you were saying as well, don't ask too much from the dogs, because we have super high expectations. Like, I want my dog to be at the cafe with me, sit there still for 3 hours whilst I have my glass of wine and enjoy the view and so on, and then take him home, leave him in the house for 15 hours. He doesn't need to go out. Like, come on, no, it's not. I'm fine with taking him in nature mostly, because also I don't like people, and that they give me anxiety. So funny enough, you're similar a bit, and it's perfectly fine. It doesn't mean you're a bad dog owner or dog trainer. No, because I put his needs higher up, and I know what's good for him and what's not. Same for me. I know I don't like to go clubbing. I'm done with that.
I know.
So I would hate if someone would drag me down there.
So see, just when you're talking about that, did you go clubbing when you were younger?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Of course, I thought it was the coolest thing to do.
Right. Okay. Now, so hang on a second there. So you said you thought it was the coolest thing to do. So on reflection now, did you enjoy it, or did you actually only enjoy elements of it?
Elements of it only. So but I didn't know any better then.
Yeah. Because I remember I didn't discover until I was in my 40s that I didn't like going to nightclubs when I was in my 20s. And I really didn't like it, but I went because that's where, if you're trying to get a girlfriend, that's where the women are. That's where my friends are. That's where they're all going. And you're like, I remember that so many times, and I don't drink, so there's a big drinking culture here in Scotland. Not everything, okay?
Here as well.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's just, it is our culture, and we would drink until 3 o'clock in the morning. So we would start drinking at 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, and drinking through till 3 o'clock in the morning. And I would leave. So I would pay to get into the nightclub at 11 o'clock, and I would go home before 1 o'clock. You know, so I was like, that's too much.
Yeah.
You know, but I was only going, and I was only going because my friends were going. You know,
Yeah.
because I wanted to spend. They were my friends. I wanted to spend time with them, and they were going out for the weekend. You know, out for the night.
Are
So
they still your friends?
yeah. I'm still friends with them. Yeah, and they're still, and they're you know, but they weren't. I don't want to say that they weren't. They weren't hard drinkers, not at all. It was just just wanted to go clubbing.
Yeah.
You know, which
But
is
also it wasn't so much else to do. You don't know that there are other things to do when you're that age.
Yeah.
For me, for example, I love to dance.
Yeah.
But now we have we just had this Untold festival, people from all over the world, blah blah. I went there last year just for the sake of it, to see nobody's dancing anymore.
Really?
I'm like, what's the point? And I was even talking about this, like all these young people who do go out now, they're not dancing. They're on Instagram taking videos and posting stories. So they're not really enjoying. And basically all these new generations missed out on what actually was fun, and they will never ever get to experience it. So at least I'm happy I've done it then, because even if I wanted to do it now, I wouldn't have where.
Yeah. It's interesting. My son's just, he's been working in summer camps over the summer camp in the States for the summer.
Nice.
On Monday. Now, I did it 30 years ago, and I know. It'll be interesting when he comes back. He's back in a few weeks, and it'll be interesting to see. I've spoken a few times over the summer, and it'll be interesting to see what his experience was like because they had mobile phones, because we didn't.
Oh, yeah.
So at night, when it was a special needs camp I worked at, so it was adults and children with learning disabilities, and they would go to bed at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and you would sit on duty on the porch until midnight, okay, and then go to bed. And we had these really deep, profound conversations about the world and life. And I mean, what did we know? We were in our 20s, you know? So
whatever you felt back then, it was very deep.
Yeah. I remember reading it because I'd read a book called it was called The Coming Plague. It was about pandemics over the years, right? And I remember one of the guys asking me why I was reading it, and I was like, well, I'm reading it because it was my degree, and it's this kind of more popular book about it. But I wonder what Max's experiences have been because they had phones. Because will they've been sitting on porch at night, and rather than having these discussions, just sitting on the phones talking.
That's a good point, and it's a great comparison that you can do.
Yeah, and I think as well.
So let me know.
Yeah, I know. I will, absolutely. Just looping that back to our dogs. If you're when you're saying there about you go to a cafe and you sit with your dog and you expect your dog to sit there for 2 hours, a lot of time you're sitting, if you're there on your own, you're sitting on your phone for 2 hours. So you're not being present with your dog. And what's the dog supposed to do for that time?
And why did you get a dog in the first place? Not to go out in nature and walk more? Going out strolling in the city, regardless of how anyone sees it, is not what they were meant to do from Mother Nature anyway.
They can adapt it. They can, but we have to provide all the other outlets for them.
Exactly. And to be fair, because if even as a human, you might think it's too much to be in a crowded place in the city and you get overwhelmed, how it happens to me, or in the malls, I can only imagine how a dog would feel in that specific environment.
Yeah.
So
awesome. Okay, so we'll wrap it up there. Do you have anything else you want to say before we finish up?
Just a big thank you.
Well, thank you. Thanks for coming on. No, I really appreciate it. So, it's been wonderful. We'll get you back. We'll talk again, okay?
Thank you very much, and have a lovely day, and big kiss to Logan, okay?
Will do.
Thank you.
Okay, that was good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was wonderful.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it. So I'm happy to see you as well. I mean,
you too.
you know, we always have a lot to talk about dogs. So
I know. I'm always happy to see you.
thank you. I hope you have a nice day. Where are you gonna travel next? Or
Well, it depends what's happening, what will happen with him. I've been asked to go to Iceland. I came back early from the US. I was supposed to be flying home today. I came back 2 weeks ago. It just wasn't the best trip. So a few things just kind of didn't pan out, and I just needed to be home. So I just booked a flight and came home. But I'm going to the search and rescue team have asked me to go and do some work with they do, I think, 2 or 3 weekends of training a year.
That's nice.
Yeah. So it's at the end of September. But I'll need to email her and see. They've booked my flight and stuff. But I'll just need to see. It depends what happens with him, whether I'm able to go.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Oh, it's a lot of exciting stuff. So I was called by one of these punishment-based trainers that was in Cluj, basically to go at the monitoring event with the van, and he was the guy that was like, nobody can touch my dog and blah blah. The dog loved me, and he was afraid like hell of him, and he was like, fuck, how did you do that? Why? So I'm gonna check if they do the monitoring thing to go there, because they're all punishment based, like, and for me it's like, befriend them, show them how it can be done, because otherwise you will not ever manage. So I will try my luck with that to see. I'll let you know if it works out.
Yeah, good.
Well, anyway, thank you very much again.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And
thank you.
We'll speak soon. I will send you.
Yeah. I'll probably, I think it'll be Friday. I'll publish.
Okay.
And then
perfect. I will keep my eyes closed, open. Yeah. Okay. So you want picture and short bio? How short?
I just not. Did you listen to the podcast with Cliff?
I don't know. I listened to some, but I don't know with who it was.
So the one from just a few weeks ago with Cliff, you can hear the introduction, and it's just listen to that. It's just and then just give me something similar. Okay.
Perfect. Okay. Good description. Okay, cool. Then I will send you that today, and we'll speak soon.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.